Train the muscles, not the joints.
Welcome back to Natural Bodybuilding. Martin. And today I just have to talk about a comment. So first and foremost, once in a while I get these fanatics that jump on the channel and they say, Jason, you know, this is the secret to gaining muscle. And they've isolated it down to one factor, right? And in this case, the guy says muscular damage. So I'm like, okay, I'm open to that. I'm open to muscular damage being a indicating factor whether your body's going to recuperate or not. I mean, I don't have a microscope to really analyze the muscles on a microscopic level or anything, but what I'm going to say is I'm going to accept the general consensus for now that muscular damage does contribute to your body adapting and then rebuilding muscle tissue, right? Seems like logical, you know? But then of course this person takes the next logical leap, which is a real dinger, right? What they do is they say, yeah, but the only way to get muscular damage is to not train the muscle for long periods of time, like 7 days or so, and then train it. And when the muscle is out of shape, that's the best way for it to get stronger. So if we look at the professional level of every single athletic endeavor, anaerobic or aerobic, okay, you see athletes training more often than once a week. Now, if there's millions of dollars on the line, millions of dollars, do you think these athletes would just be training more often just because they have nothing better to do? If it was the most effective thing possible just to train once a week, they probably would be doing it. But of course, there's always these guys in the coaching community that want to brand themselves. You know, Mentor was one of them, right? Anything that was anti-establishment, after he lost to Mr. Olympia, anything that was anti-Joe Weider or any of that stuff, right? That's what he wanted to represent because that was a great way to establish a niche for himself in the market. And of course, you know, one set to failure and only train the body part once every 7 or 14 days or whatever. You know what? The thing is that these types of systems rarely work for most people. That's all I'm going to say. And to say that you should get the body to be out of shape in order to get it in shape doesn't make sense. Logically, your body is adapting all the time to what you're doing. And yes, you need enough recovery so that the body can rebuild the tissue. But to say that you should wait till the body is absolutely totally out of shape in order for it to be able to grow or adapt ideally, that would be false. Because I have spent 35 years training and I had one of the biggest real natural physiques on stage in any stage that I was in. Any stage that I was on, I was one of the bigger natural bodybuilders. There were a few other bodybuilders that were really big too, and those guys trained more than once a week. They trained at least 4 days a week, if not 6, you know, but usually it was more than 2 or 3 days a week, okay? So to say to somebody who's already accomplished something that this person who was the elite did it wrong because you have an idea based on your own understanding of some science, because that's the other bomb that people drop all the time. They're like, if you follow the science, right? What science? It's like the science is like way behind what's actually working for athletes in the gym all the time. It's always a step behind. You know, that there's some things that have been proven by science and some things that have not, but usually the people who are producing the results are the ones that could tell you how to get them. And they're not just following studies blindly and saying, oh, the study must be true even if my results are going in the opposite direction, right? So the fact is that I spent lots of time training. I spent lots of time having time off, like when I broke my hand in a bar fight and I broke this one in another bar fight, right? When I popped the shoulder out from playing hockey, you know, and I would spend lots of time not training. And the thing that I have over all of these people on the internet, or most of them anyway, not all of them of course, but most of them, is I have an identical twin brother who went to university during the time that I was steadily training in the gym. So I was steadily training, and he was only training a couple times a week, if not once a week a lot of times, because he just didn't have time because of his course load. So he was busy studying and commuting and dealing with all that kind of stuff. So him and I basically had, you could almost say, a double-blind study going on. We didn't have a placebo, but we had a double-blind study where both of us, no pun intended with the study, but both of us were training in different ways, and we'd look at who was getting more results. Now, my arms and my back and my chest and my legs were bigger than his at that time. It was only until he started training more frequently and training more often that his body started to grow again. But before that, if what this person's saying is just train once a week, train intense, and then that's it, you get all your results, my brother should have outpaced me by a landfall. He should have gotten bigger than me, but he never did. So why is that? Right? So a lot of times I find that we're in this day and age where people can talk a lot of shit but not produce any results. And then they hide behind their little profile picture on their YouTube account or whatever, and they basically just say stuff, but they don't have to back it up. But I'm saying if you haven't backed up what you're saying, then shut up. And if you have backed it up, realize the one law that I talk about on this channel, and that is the law of individuality, which states each person does have subtle differences going on in their individual situation, which may contribute to them getting results from one type of training more than another. So am I saying that you can train less and get more results? Of course, at some point, you may have to make adjustments. Sometimes training a little bit less can get you more results, sometimes training more. But to go extreme and say, hey, just train once every 14 days or whatever, you know, wait till you're totally out of shape and then train again, that'll shock the body and the muscle growth. That's absolute bullshit. If anything, that will injure you. And every time I did that, because say I had to take time off for work or whatever, when I came back, I was weaker and I could not lift the same amount of weight or even lighter weight for the same amount of reps, and I was smaller. So how can that be the way to gain muscle mass? And by doing that for any extended period of time, I just lost muscle. I never gained the muscle back. So this is the thing. And the one thing this guy says is that's the disadvantage of sarcoplasmic training or whatever, right? But the bottom line is that whatever is getting you the results has to be the truth. It can't be, oh, I just think something works, therefore it is. It's kind of like this craziness we have in the world right now. It's like, I think I identify as a tree, so therefore I must be a tree, right? It's just, it doesn't matter what you think. It matters what is the result. And I've tested different ways of training to find out what will give me the most result. And would I have loved to get the most results just from training once a week? Obviously, I would have spent way less time in the gym. I could have wrote bestsellers. I could have, you know, composed great score music for some movie, you know? I could have spent all my time doing all this other stuff and just train once a week really hard and then get all the results. Well, I tried that, it didn't work, and this is why I train the way I do now, and this is why I speak from a place of experience, not idea, you know? So I ultimately say challenge all your own ideas, of course, and ultimately, yeah, retest your theories and see if they still apply. But right now, and even in the last 2-3 years, when I've trained less in the gym, just 2 or 3 days a week, pretty intense, my results go down. You can see that I lose a little bit of muscle mass, I lose the pump, I lose the groove, and I lose a little bit of strength. It just happens that way. So I have to constantly remind the body that it has to grow, remind the body that it has to gain muscle. It doesn't happen just by getting out of shape and then just saying, hey, you know, hey body, respond now, you know? So anyway, a lot of people say a lot of stupid stuff. Motion. So in the end, you know, you got to try things, you know, try training once a week or once every 3 months or once every 4 years, you know, go do that if you want. But I'm going to tell you right now that nobody I know at the elite natural bodybuilding level did anything that way. Of course, the juice heads, the guys on drugs, they got results just from doing tequila shooters at the bar, right? But that doesn't mean tequila is the way to gain muscle, right? Arriba! You get my point. So anyway, I hope this helps out in your training. Hope it clears up some of the confusion around some of the stupid stuff going on. And thanks a lot for watching. If you need to get a hold of me, just go to naturalbodybuilding.com, and thanks to the Patreon supporters, and take care for now. Mountain.